At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps.
Here's the thing about your movie, why I made the curator's pick of the Hollywood Fringe. Community, heart, you're doing
Observations TFR 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday.
What's going on, people? Welcome to another great episode of Observations, episode 89. It's Stock Wednesday. Stocks, Bonds, and Annuities is the topic for today. That's right. That is what the topic is today, right? So without further ado, before we get started, let's introduce my special guest host, Tonya M. Congress, and we're going to see how this does here. So go ahead and introduce yourself. What's going on with you this morning?
Much on, so on and so forth. So I am doing fabulous. This is my third day of using some new supplements that I've added to my diet. So you want to have a good diet and you want to have supplements, especially if you're a real busy person and you don't have time to fix the balanced meals all the time. You're going to have to compensate for that with good quality supplements to make sure that you have your energy levels and everything so that you can be productive, right? So today, this morning, I have my sliced apple, red delicious apple. I have, well, I'm not going to lift this up because the cup is quite full, but it is a special type of coffee that has a supplement in it. Since I like coffee, I said, well, and coffee is not necessarily the best for you, I found a coffee that has a supplement in it that is a different type of energy. It's more of a natural energy instead of caffeine, right? So it doesn't give you that queasiness in your stomach. It doesn't give you that high then crash feeling when you're pushing against the grain. And I had a decent amount of sleep. I went to bed about 10, and I was up a couple of times. But altogether, I got a good amount of sleep. So I feel wonderful this morning. And I'm ready to get the show on the road or the road on the show. How you doing this morning?
Hey, I'm doing as well as can be expected under these circumstances. We are in the middle of a pandemic. What is the topic for today? What is the topic for today? Stock Wednesday, Stocks, Bonds, and Annuities, Observations, episode 89. Stocks, Bonds, and Annuities. What's good? What's better? What was Kamala Harris doing in West Viginia? Is she the person we'd like to see in the presidency talking to world leaders? Which one's worse, her or Biden? Is she still your sister, girl? Is she still your sister, girl? This morning on the You Found the Spot FB group page, I posted American Black historical figures, right? And I posted that because my wife and I, last August 2020, we dealt with talking about Black women who moved us along to put us in the rightful place in America. And, usually people talk about the men, but I was talking about the women, right? The Black women who pushed, right? So that both of those episode 1, episode 2 are up on the YouTube, on the You Found the Spot group page, right? American Black Historical Figures. American Black Foremothers is the subtitle, right? And we talk about it because we say if we knew more about our story, then we wouldn't be needing to talk about and look up to people who are not actually American black, right? We wouldn't have to actually look up to people who are not actually American black, right? And so that is the issue that we find. So that's why I asked, is she still your sister girl? Because the first time on the big stage, and the woman fumbled the football. We have a video presentation, of course. We have a video presentation today because the woman dropped the football in West Virginia, talking about landmines, right? Talking about landmines. Good morning to Tracy Latrice. Good morning to you. I just see your tag this morning because I'm looking on the phone because the tablet does not produce everything. Smash the like button, smash the share button. Let everybody know that we are on. We want to say what's up to everybody watching us on Vimeo, on You Found the Spot FB, also on Crayzon Deeyon page on FB, and You Found the Spot. That's right. You Found the Spot on YouTube. The Film Review Life channel on YouTube. They are simulcasting at the same time. Make sure you subscribe to both stations, both channels on YouTube. The Film Review Life channel and You Found the Spot, right? So make sure you smash the like button, the share button, and like, follow, friend, allow, tag your people in the place where you are seeing us now. Right? All right. So let's get started. Of course, you know what we start with. We always start with the memes of the day, right? So let's start with this right here. You know, the Golden Globe nominations just came out this morning, and there are some omissions. There are some snubs, and we will be talking about that on Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on hashtag TFR Podcast Live. But today we're going through the memes, and this one is interesting. This is an interesting meme, and the meme reads at the top, "This pick hits so different now. This pick hits so much different now," with a face with two tears, right? Because it is a meme of Chadwick Boseman and Cicely Tyson. And both have gone home from this side of heaven to the other side of heaven. And so that's why the person who posted this said, "This hits so much different now." It truly does. It really, really does. The phone lines are open. 213-943-3358. Is she still your sister girl? She's still your sister girl. Anyway, look here. Let's keep going. Right? This is an interesting meme. February 3rd, 1903. February 3rd, 1903. Jack Johnson became the first American black heavyweight champion on this day. February 3rd, 1903. Jack Johnson became the first American black heavyweight champion on this day. How about that? On this day in 1903, Jack Johnson. Right? And after he lost it, it took about 20 to 30 years before they found what they thought was a safe heavyweight in Joe Louis, who wasn't as flamboyant as Jack Johnson was. But for some reason, he was still knocking off the white But anyway, we won't go any further with that. But yes, that's right. Somehow he was doing it in secret instead of out front, right? All right, let's keep going. All right, so yesterday we were talking about, steadfasting. But before I get in shape, does anyone like me chubby? Before I get in shape, does anyone like me chubby? That's the question that the person has. Before they get in shape, before they do all this, do they like them chubby? All right. Which brings us to this meme right here, which I think is really interesting. This meme is interesting right here. You see the heavier body, they're eating the pizza and the burgers and the soda and the sausage and the hot dogs and the cake with the cherry on top, the French fries, more burgers, more, I think, is that corn on the cob? And is that a whole salami? I think it is. A couple of donuts. Yes. Links by the pound. Soda, more soda. And you look over to the thinner person and they are eating squash and romaine lettuce and pumpkin and avocado and you name it, the fruits and the vegetables. There goes the celery right there on the left leg. How about that? The celery right there in the representing the longest bone in the body, the femur, right? How about that? So look at here. So what does it say? Let me get a little bigger so I can read what it says. It says, you are what you eat, so don't be fast, easy, cheap, or fake. You are what you eat, so don't be fast, easy, cheap, or fake. Wow, don't be a processed being, right? Interesting memes today before we get started. Smash the share button, smash the like button. Here we go. This next one is very interesting. Strong leaders are not fearless. Let's say this again. Strong leaders are not fearless. They just know how to compartmentalize and move forward. Don't let fear keep you stuck in place. Strong leaders are not fearless. They just know how to compartmentalize and move forward. Don't let fear keep you stuck in place, because once you learn that fight or flight comes off of the same emotion, which is fear, then you say, well, let's compartmentalize and just let's get out there into it. And so let's get into the fight. You know what I mean? And let's not flight. Let's get into the fight. And so that is a good meme this morning. I thought that was pretty good. Now, speaking of stocks, we're going to get into this early. For those of you who are enthusiasts in the bumbud, the marijuana, into the Mary Jane, into the weed. Oh, excuse me, it's not weed, it's cannabis. That is the proper term for it. It is called cannabis. For those who are into that, these are a list of black-owned cannabis brands. Do you have stock in these black Black-owned cannabis brands. G5 Cultivation, I have interviewed the owner of that because that particular grower is out here in Las Vegas. As a matter of fact, one of the dispensaries, Hardin, that they supply, I did a whole behind the scenes interview with the bud tender. It was exclusive. I was behind the counter, behind in the stock area. They took me from one end of Hardin all the way to the other. You're bumping into something. I'm hearing some feedback from you. Oh, it's you chewing. Oh my. That is something. What's going on? Can you hear me saying that? You're chewing or something. Something's going on. I'm hearing the feedback every time you're chewing on something. Right. So, yeah, that's what it is. You're bumping on something, right? It's some kind of clicking, bumping. But anyway, look. Black-owned cannabis brands. Do you have stock in these black-owned cannabis brands? You should, because this is the wave of the future. The cannabis business is the wave of the future, except for it is now. G5 Cultivation has their own facility. I have been there. I have seen how the buds are grown. It is a phenomenal facility, and you should have stock. I keep on saying G5 because I know them. I've met them and actually interviewed with them, and so I often say G5 Cultivation, G5 Cultivation. Do you have stock in that? Because I've seen it. It's not someone else growing it and it's someone else's name on it. They are not only the name G5 Cultivation, but they are also the ones who grow the product. And I've actually seen it. So they are truly black owned. Okay. All right, people. So smash the share button, smash the like button. We are getting ready to get into our main topic for today before we get on your girl Kamala, because we have a video presentation. That's right, we have a video presentation. But we are talking about annuities, bonds, and stocks. So we have some definition, right? We have some definitions to give you definition to know what you would be doing with these very different commodity having, stock having, bond having, annuity having type things. Okay. So let's start with annuity. Key takeaways. An annuity provides an income stream from a certain period or for life. With a bond, an investor lends money and gets regular investment interest payments for a fixed period. Then the principal investment is returned. In general, bonds pay a higher yield than annuities, but that is not always true. Coming from Investopedia, annuities versus bonds. What's the difference on Investopedia? Now, we're giving you just the top level of the definition so that you can go and continue to do your research. But however, they are predicting now that due to what is happening at the bond market will be a little lower this season. These seasons coming up because of what's going on with the virus, right? So let's bring that down. We're bringing you definitions. Now, here's another one. Very important to know about annuities. See, this is the long game, right? This is a long game. It's not something where you're going to just get into it and then it's going to be a short game. Can you lose your money in an annuity? The value of your annuity changes based on the performance of those investments. This means that it is possible to lose money, including your principal, with a variable annuity if the investments in your account don't perform well. You know that those fucking slaves have to perform well or you're going to lose money in your annuity. So those slaves better perform well, and the best way to get them to perform well is to get one, draw and quarter them, buck bust them, or lynch them high. And then the rest of the slaves will work. Did you know that at one time, black bodies were traded on the New York Stock Exchange? Everything in the black, in the red, represented the natives, the natives that took, but anyway, that's another story for another time. But in the black meant that you were doing well. And what was in the black, where did it come from? We have shaped every aspect of this United States of America. Unwillingly in some parts, but in other parts with our culture, just the way it is. Variable annuities also tend to have higher fees, including the chances of losing money. Can annuities lose money? Annuity articles, all things annuities. See, we give you the source so you can go on ahead and do further research on what we are talking about today. It's very important. Now, as we come here, annuities versus stocks. We're moving through this pretty fast, right? Moving through it pretty fast. All right. So the question is, let me make it bigger so people can see it. Okay, there we go. Are annuities better than stocks? Annuities have advantages over stocks. The most significant advantages annuities offer are tax-deferred growth and tax-advantaged income. All right? That money keeps working in an annuities portfolio. Common stock investors pay tax on both capital gains and dividends if the money is not held in a retirement account, a Roth IRA. A Roth IRA, right? Annuities versus stocks, understanding the pros and cons of both. And are annuities better than stocks? What does 100,000 annuity pay per month? Okay, so now you had the annuity for a certain amount of time in your life, and this is what you can expect. A male, if you have 100,000 in the annuity, this is what you can expect invested in the annuity. This is what you can expect per month, right? You can get an idea of how much guaranteed lifetime income a given amount of savings will buy by going to this annuity payment calculator. All you have to do is just search annuity payment calculator on the internet, and then you will be able to put in the amount of money that you would need to necessarily survive on an annuity. But here it is. If you put in, for example, $100,000 will get a 65-year-old man about $525 a month in lifetime income a month for the rest of your lifetime, while the amount would generate roughly $490 a month for a 65-year-old woman. Is $524 a month and $490 a month, is that something that you can live on? We're not sensationalized today, so people have chose not to. I see people dropped off because they say this is boring, but you need to know this. You need to know this because you're not going to be young forever. Everyone thinks they're going to be young forever. And you're not going to be young forever. One day you could be in the soup lines. Because how much is rent? How much is food? How much is utilities? Does 525 at 100,000 get you as a male? Does that get you okay? Does that combination between a man and a woman married together, does that cover your bills? Does that cover your bills? That's why you have to diversify your attack as far as annuities, stocks, bonds, right? And mutual funds, which we're not going to talk about mutual funds until next week, right? That usually comes through being in a company and then they have a program for you. But if you're doing it yourself, you're going to need more than $525 a month in life for a lifetime, for the rest of your lifetime, because people are living longer, and so you're going to need more. We're bringing you this information because sometimes we cannot be sensational all the time. Sometimes we have to bring, the sensationalism is coming though. Just wait a minute. Just wait a minute. So what do you have to say to that, Tonya? What do you think about that? Okay, why am I not hearing you? Where's your phone? Is your phone on mute? Where's your phone?
Right here.
Okay, you are low. You're gonna have to do something else. You're real low now. I don't know what's happening. You were blazing before, but now you're not blazing now. We got to figure this. Yeah, change the things because you're not blazing right now. I don't know what's the deal, but you're not blazing right now.
Go out and come back in.
No, because you're on the phone, so it's not about the volume coming through the system. You're on the phone, so why aren't we hearing you loud like we were before? You don't have to go out. Yeah, okay, I'm hearing something. That sounded pretty loud. What is that? It's the earpiece or something. It's not generating the sound quality we need. All right, we're gonna work out this kink.
Okay,
this is something.
How about now?
Still kind of low. Let me turn you up. Go ahead. Let's see you talk.
All right, now.
Go ahead. Okay, you are going in and out. It's something about the headpiece you're using. That's what it is.
Okay, what about now?
Okay, go ahead and talk. That's the only way I'm going to be able to tell.
All right, how about now?
Okay, go ahead. I'll turn you up.
All right. Testing one. Testing one.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't know how when you call in on the line, when you call on the line as a guest, we don't have this problem. Like you called in on Sunday and we didn't have this problem. And now we got this problem.
No, I was away from my
Okay, why don't you pull the headset out and talk? Put the phone. Okay, pull the headset.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yes, take the headset out. Put the phone on mute.
I can't hear you.
Okay. Well.
How about now? Go ahead.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes. Okay, let's see. Let's iron this kink out.
Seems like I can't hear you because my headset's on. How about now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you. That's better.
All right. Now, what's weird on that?
Yeah, let's iron this kink out real quick, and then we can go forward with the show here.
All right. Okay.
Go ahead. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Go ahead. What you got to say? What do you
All
got to
right.
say about this?
Wait a minute. I need to turn the phone down. All right. As far as the $525 and $490, nobody can move on that. But I will say, in addition to any other things, that could be supplemental.
Yeah, it could be supplemental, absolutely. It is added on to something else. Are you hearing me?
I am hearing I'm hearing everything that I said to you all the way back, coming back to me.
Wow, that's something. Because we got a good sound over here. I don't have a feedback coming back over here like a reverb or anything. You're coming through pretty clear. Maybe you should stick your head, put the phone, take the speaker off of the phone when you pull your headsets out. Take the speaker off of the phone and just have it so that you can talk through it, so they can't hear me talking. And then stick your headphones back into the computer so you can hear the program coming through the main program. And then the phone will be just you talking through it, and they won't hear me saying anything because you won't have the speaker on. You see what I'm saying? So you got to have your headsets on, plugged into the main computer hard drive, and then the phone will be take it off a speaker so that you can just speak, right? And then that should be pretty smooth. We shouldn't have any problems. We can work this kink out. Usually it's kinkless, but we had to do something new because they keep clipping us, and so we had to come up with new ideas. So it's just working out growing pains, if you know what I mean. Usually it's smooth. So once we work out these growing pains, people, it will be smooth action, right? Because that's what we want. We want smooth action, smooth detail as far as what's going on the show. So we work out these kinks a little bit because the powers that be try to hold you down. Can you hear me? Okay, I cannot hear you on the phone. Do not put your phone on mute. Just take the speaker off, because if you put it on mute, then I won't be able to hear you talk, because mute is to mute from people hearing you. You just need to keep the speaker off and just talk through that, and then you'll be hearing me talking through the main system, and then you'll talk through the phone, right? Okay, I'm not hearing you. I don't know what the situation is. When you call, you need to do what you do when you call up as a guest. You call up, your signal is also clear. You need to do what you usually do then, because you are able to hear us then. Maybe listen through the phone line all the way, and then just talk through the phone line, because you hear us talking. I don't hear you at all. I don't know what's going on. Do you have your phone on mute? Because if your phone is on mute, if the microphone is on mute, then the people won't be able to hear you. With the concept of edits, none of this will be here on the playback, right? So we don't have anything to worry about at this point. It'll be a smooth sailing show. It's the power of being an editor like yours truly, as we figure out how to kick the kink out of this production here. I don't hear you at all. I don't know why you're not talking now. You are on. Talk now.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. All right, can you hear me?
All right, so when I took my headset out, it said unmuted. I don't know why it's putting it on mute.
Okay, no, you were. I could hear you. I could hear you. Do reverse whatever it was, because I was hearing you. I can't hear you now. So I don't know what happened, but you were.
So I have to use the phone without the headset. That's what time it is.
Right.
So
and plug.
You can hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. And plug your headsets into the hard drive of the computer, and then you'll be able to hear the signal coming from the show through your computer. Right? Through what you're listening to, and then you'll be able to talk through your phone. Right.
All right, got it.
Right.
All right, hold it down. I'll be right back because I have to get my charger.
Okay. All right, I'll hold it down. All right, people. So as we go along, we are knocking out the kinks of this because, they keep on clipping us, and so we have to find out new ways to overcome and adapt to the situation so it's not too high you can't get over it, it's not too low you can't get under it, too wide you can't get around it. You got to be able to get over it, under it, around it, you know what I'm saying, to win. You know what I mean? You have to get over it, under it, around the obstacles to be able to win. So this is what we see here, and so we're working throughout the kinks, and the kink is being taken care of, and through the magic.
All right, can you hear me?
I can.
It should be good now, right?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. So what else do you have to say about this, about that 5?
Okay, as I was saying before we were so rudely interrupted. So the $525 for the man and the $490 for the woman that's only good as a supplement. It's certainly not going to sustain you. And odds are, if you don't have more than that just coming in from another avenue, you're not even invested in an annuity anyway. But I think what we can take from this is that, okay, so you know how you get those statements like every quarter from the United States government that lets you know that by the time you're age 65 or by the time you're age 70, you'll get $1,300 and something odd dollars a month. Not even that. Not even that is going to sustain you. Honestly, it's not going to sustain you. If you got basic bills, even minus a house note, if you have basic bills, depending on, what your expenses are, that's not going to sustain you and then allow you to be able to go and have some entertainment or purchase some clothing or whatever. That is just enough to get by. You know what I'm saying? So these things like annuities and other things we're going to discuss today, we should have some investment in those as supplemental income. Look at it as supplemental only.
See,
that's pretty much what I have to say about that.
Yeah, sometimes you say, when is enough money enough money? You look at the rich people and you look at what they're doing. They say, when is enough money enough money? And it would appear by these figures that there is never enough money. And so that's why it's very important that American black people start receiving reparations. Now, if you're one of those Negroes that says, oh, reparations will never happen, well, you sound just like the person that put your mind in bondage, okay? I'm just going to say that straight up off the rip, right? That's one thing. Is we have to be very clear about that you don't know enough history. You don't know enough history to know how government is supposed to work for a citizen. And being that we are citizens of the corporation of the United States of America, there are certain retirement plans as American blacks that have been deferred over the years that should be in our portfolios, and reparations should be one of those. We're talking about a monthly or every 2 weeks, $6,000 every 2 weeks, right? To go along with everything else that you do as far as investments are concerned. So when you see people like Biden, and probably why that story is not holding water, for some reason the obvious lie held water with Trump because people were jealous of Trump. They saw him on TV. They saw that he was presidential before he got in office. So obviously that was jealousy. We cannot cut that any other way. They were jealous of Donald Trump, right? We can just say that. With Biden has always been in government. You've seen him for some years. And so when the story comes up about Hunter, not Bo, but Hunter and everything, well, they look at it and say, well, hey, if it were me, I would need as much money as possible too. When you see the artists and you say they do certain things, like all those stories coming out about the so-called Illuminati and the people doing stuff that messes with them over time. How much is enough money? It's never enough. Didn't Little Wayne sell his whole catalog, including Nicki and Drake, for 10 million? Isn't that what that was? That wasn't even 10 billion. It was just 10 million. When times get tough, you start to see what type of money that you need and what you need to live on, right? The same thing, my sister and I were talking about the TI situation, right? We were talking about the TI situation and how all of those, well, not all, I don't know how many, whatever they were saying. I really didn't keep up to the story because once I heard it, it went in one ear and out the other. But this morning, my sister hatched it, and I said, well, I didn't say we were going to talk about it, but here they are, times are hard, the money train isn't there because they had to tighten up their belt, because T.I. is definitely about one thing most important. He is about his family. And his family comes first. The extracurricular activities can cease, but his family comes first. Now, my sister and I were talking, and she'll tell you her side, but I was saying that these women are, if you would read the Bible, they would be considered concubine. Now, concubine. Look up the word concubine, Tonya. Look up the word concubine. Let's look that up real quick. They would be considered concubine, right? Now, if the man and the woman, this is why this is a non-story, right? It's a non-story. If the man and the woman who are married and they come to an understanding and they come to an agreement about what they're going to be doing in their bedroom, that's why they call it grown folks business. It's grown folks business, and that's what they're doing in their bedroom, right? So once they came to the agreement and he said, hey, my name is Abraham, and Tiny, your name is Sarah, and I have a certain amount of concubine and all that. What we choose to do in our bedroom is grown folks business, and being that these women, just by definition, now I'm not saying what they are, they could be lovely people, and this is just observation and opinion. They could be lovely people outside, but how lovely could they be if they don't keep their word? If they agree to it, they don't keep silent about it. Times are getting hard, so then they want to talk about it now. they were nothing more than concubine, right? What is a concubine?
It is, let's see, it is a woman who lives with a man but has lower status than his wife or wives, a mistress. The function of a concubinage was producing additional heirs, as well as bringing males pleasure, and the children of such concubines had lower rights in account to inheritance, which was regulated by whatever system that was in the land at that time.
That is right. So you see, so concubine is there for pleasure, and maybe if the woman could not have children, then the concubine would bring about more because these are rich people doing it. But what you find out is when the streams of revenue slow down, like Andre say, if you don't move your feet, then I don't eat. That makes us neck to neck, right? Elevators. AT Aliens, the album. But anyway, look. This is what this is. So when I heard the story and I heard they were coming out, you are breaking your code as a concubine. Maybe you thought that you were more. Just my thought on it, my opinion. Maybe you thought that you were more. But you're really nothing but a concubine. You agreed to it. This is what you were going to do. This is what you did. That's what it is. And guess what? By the time this is over, because this is a 3-year, some month, and some day process with this particular virus. Right? The abomination of desolation. You should of desolation. You should look it up. You should look it up. It's right there. You can read it right in the Bible. It's a 3-year process. This is going to be a 3-year, some month, and some day process on this virus. By the time 3 years takes people's prime away. Just ask Ali. All right? So by the time you would get back in the game, there's a whole new set of 18, 19, 20-year-old, you're 25, 26, 26. You're not long in the tube. You're going to be moving over. Now, this is just facts. And that's why when you were getting the bread, you should have been stacking it and putting it into some kind of stock, some kind of annuity, some kind of bond, some kind of mutual fund. But mutual funds usually come through companies, and it comes up. We'll talk about that next week. But anyway, so what do you have to say to that?
You know, as you're saying that, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, well, you know how there's a niche for everybody. Like most corporations and companies that start, it's because they found a need and they filled it somewhere in society. So there needs to be some type of company or corporation that caters to those who make their money in those ways, and educating them on how to invest that money so that they're not just left out there. Because you can only have so many surgeries. You can only have so many butt lifts, breast lifts, injections around the eyes and all that before it starts backfiring. That stuff starts backfiring. You look like, be a clown, all the world loves a clown, So you can only do so much of that before you start looking like anybody's clown.
Looking like Bozo.
And so what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Gravity hits, and then this is what happens. When gravity hits so much, you can tell you've been infused with, you can tell it's been lifted because the skin itself still sags. The skin itself still has a lack of collagen. So the skin itself, it looks like raised skin. That's what it looks like. So it's not going to have the visual appeal to make you marketable in that thing. So what plan do you have for yourself? So I think that I don't know. Let me think about this. There needs to be a company that caters to educating the people in that field.
That's true.
Educating concubines, educating strippers, educating, all of these people to how you keep your bag after it sags.
How to keep
your bag
after it
Go ahead.
sags. That's right. That is interesting. That is interesting there. What's up to Roderick L. Swift? I see that he's watching us right now. How to keep your bag after it sags. That's right, people. So when I heard the story, I said, well, these are just concubines talking because their services are no longer asked for because everybody is tightening up their belt. Now, if you tighten up your belt, after this is over, 3 years puts people out their prime. You will be put out to pasture because every year there's a new 18, 19, 20-year-old that are ready to come in and ready to be perky and happy to do it. All we say is, can you learn from your predecessors and start stacking that bank and start putting it in something that can yield you something in the end? Because when it all wears out, it's going to wear out, right? So that was a little information. Why are they clipping us? Oh, they did not like what we said there. They did not like that. They did not like that. They didn't like the concubine information. Before we go any further, before we go into stocks that you should have, don't forget, get your QR scanner on your phone, on your smartphone, on your Apple, or on your Android, and scan the QR code here. It takes you to our fundraising page and order this t-shirt, right? Proceeds go towards new expansion and new shows on You Found the Spot. Hashtag You Found the Spot, right? Also, we are in the fight against this pandemic. Anyone knows, like a year and a half ago, I had put a picture up that I had taken with a surgical mask with my hat, and I said the masks are coming, and sure enough, as sure as word is bond, the masks are here. Now, you take your QR scanner from PayPal. You got PayPal on your phone. Go to PayPal, find the QR scanner in the PayPal. You scan the QR code here. It takes you right over to the mask. Order the mask. You will have it in 5 to 10 business days. Don't forget to add your name and your shipping address, and we will have the mask out to you within 7 to 10 business days. That's right. All right, people. So let me bring myself back in. Now, let's look at some stocks today, right? Let's look at some stock. Let's look at one stock in particular that is really low that you can get stocks from. Like we talked to you about the African last week. We told you about the African last week. Did you get stock in that? Because that is in southern Africa. The basin is about the same size as the Texas basin with oil, and they're believing that billions of dollars are going to come from out of that. So if you get into stocks that have to do with the equipment, have to do with the company itself, have to do with the secondary companies like ExxonMobil and Shell, did you pick up some stock last week? It's very important that you do. Now, this one stock is poised to do well, which is FSD Pharma. Anything in the pharma business is going to do well during this time. FSD Pharma, they're $2.20 a share. $2.20 a share right now, right? Now, so that's a pick for this week, and then once it starts to rise and double and triple and quadruple, you will see quite a return on your money, right? That's what we see. So that's one of the stocks that we are speaking to right now. What that was about.
That's
okay.
Crazy.
That is crazy. I mean, we're just talking about stocks, but said we lost it, but everything stayed on. Oh, it was a loss of internet. I don't know what that's about. Wow. Okay. Anyway, look. Stocks that we have told you about that you should have stock in, right? Pfizer is, this is what I said, and then it did. I said Pfizer is down right now, right? Because people are not taking that vaccine, at least not in America. Now, they're not really taking the vaccine, and for some reason, there's a shortage in the vaccine. You know, no doubt all Biden's fault. No doubt Biden's fault, right? His administration's fault. No doubt about that. So Pfizer is dropping right now. But you know what's up? Moderna. Moderna is up because, you know, it's the new kid on the block, and, you know, people haven't rejected it. People haven't dropped dead yet. Not that we know of. Not that we know of yet. But like we said, can the people who were Biden supporters, who voted for Biden, that were black, that were in the older generation, can you show us the politics of personal responsibility and get up there and take that? And then we have the 16-day window that we can look at, thanks to Hank Aaron, who took it on the 6th. Then 16 days later, he was dead. We're still trying to figure out if Cicely Tyson took the experimental agent. We're still trying to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? That is something that they usually clip us on every time we're getting ready to get to that. We try to get to that revelation. And it's like Alvin Ailey now when they added the white dancers. Revelation doesn't look like Revelation used to look. Since they got the black guy that was in Germany who brought his white German dancers to infiltrate into Alvin Ailey, and down the white one go like this, and the hand is supposed to spread up like this, but some reason when she spreads her hand up high, it turns like this. I mean, it's something wrong. Development of something, because the hand should be able to stretch all the way up like this. And I have to, when you stretch all the way up, turn like this. I mean, something wrong. It's something wrong. It's something wrong.
Let me tell you.
It's something wrong. It's something wrong. Go ahead.
This is what I feel about, because every day I go to Google and I look up cause of Cicely Tyson's death. And what is really, really baffling to me is that the reports that were given on that day are the reports that are here. Nothing, no network or anything has added to the list of feeds that were out from the day that she passed away, which is really, really concerning to me, because it keeps saying the last thing that was given is no cause of death has been given for the acting legend. No cause of death has been given. Really? Not even she died from natural causes? See, by you omitting and being and not saying, now it's on the radar. In 96, it would have been just as easy to say she passed away of natural causes. because that's the common thing given to someone that up in age, right? And so once again, here we are searching for the knobs on our neck to see if our heads screw on and off. Once again, because I'm looking at this, this is day number, however many days, the 28th is when she passed. So this is day number 5, 6, and we still don't have a cause of death when y'all could have just said she passed peacefully by natural causes wherever. Nor did they put where she passed either. That's another issue that's been omitted. Where she was and how she was. Could have been a hospital. Could have been anywhere. Could be that there's going to be a big fallout and we find out that it was suggested that she take the agent. Could be. And because y'all omitted what you could have used to make life easier for you, now people like me, people like us are looking like, we looking at you like, really? So, I mean, yeah, it's very strange. And I mean, there's no other reports. It seems like it's stopping right there. Her historical prowess and everything, and all the reports and everything have stopped right there at the day she died, and there's no other information. I would venture to say if there's anything else that does come out, it's going to be unauthorized. It's going to be somebody who's just going to come forward and say something. It's going to be clear that it's not in agreement with everybody else who was in agreement about keeping it quiet. Watch, you'll see. There's going to be some unauthorized individual that comes out with it, and they'll probably get paid a hefty sum for the information because it's been so, kept hidden, kept secret. But yeah.
Yeah. Melissa M. said, Tonya M. Congress, when I posted the information about the correlation between Hank Aaron's death and the vaccine, Facebook sent me a message from fact checkers that basically said I'm sharing false information. So yes, they are definitely monitoring. Makes me wonder what else they are up to. That's right. They are monitoring this. Like, you cannot, this is headed into a totalitarian, authoritarian type governance on these social media sites, which is not that far off from what is happening with the government, right? Where the media is in on it and you can't say anything against what they're saying. They would say you are lying. Now, if you just say this is interesting to look at, they're going to send you a fact check. Like, how could it be a fact check when it's not facts? Facts, that is their truth. See, that's why truth is relative. It's your truth. It's not facts because we haven't seen, we're not sure, we don't know. We can assume and look at Hank Aaron and say Hank Aaron was of a certain healthiness because he had played athletics as a young man. And usually those who play athletics young, their cardiovascular, though they're older, is pretty good. If he was sickly, he wouldn't have taken the experimental agent because he would have said that will kill me for sure. But because he wasn't sickly and he had played sports, he might have had some arthritis or some joint pain, but maybe not. Maybe he was living the vegan life and didn't catch the gout. Okay, so I'm just speculating there. But if he was not healthy, he would not have taken the virus. I mean, excuse me. Well, actually, they are taking the dead virus. But anyway, they wouldn't take the experimental agent, right? And then they're coming out with reports now that they say that the older people who are taking this vaccine are coming down with the COVID. But they will put a fact check up and say that is not true. How do you know it's not true? They haven't put a paper out. We just finished talking yesterday. Fauci was talking about, well, there was no papers out on, there were no journals out on hydrochloroquine. Well, it took a year, and the first journal papers came out now on hydrochloroquine, and 400,000 people have died. All of this media outlet, everyone was in on saying that hydrochloroquine was no good. It wasn't proven because there's no papers on it. Well, the study came out and said if people take it who are only early onset of the virus, they get cured. How many have died? How many have blood on their hands? We talked about that yesterday. We're not going to rehash that. So these facts that they say are their truths. Truths are relative to who's saying it, but facts are facts. You can't mix facts up with truth because people will have certain truths that fit their thing, but there are certain things about facts. So we're just trying to find out, did Hank Aaron die from taking the vaccine if he was perfectly healthy up to that time? Did Cicely Tyson take the experimental agent because she was out there and they said just for precaution because her main man who kept her in films, Tyler Perry, did the special. He took the experimental agent. So why wouldn't she do that, right? Roderick L. Swift said yes. Now look, so that's all we're trying to figure out. And while they are lying now, how are they going to say, because they were putting up fact checks, hydrochloroquine doesn't work to help the conditions of people who catch the virus. Well, now they're going to have to come back and say, we were wrong. You got death on your hands, Facebook. You got death on your hands, Twitter. You got death on your hands, YouTube. You got death on your hands. You got blood on your hands. You got death on your soul. You. Because you put it up. All the people who control the bots as they're trying to clip us right now. All of the people who control all the bots. You've got death on your soul. You've got blood on your hands because 400,000 people died. They could have had hydrochloroquine and the other therapeutics and didn't have to die. But because you wanted to put Fauci against Donald Trump because you didn't like Donald Trump, how childish is it not to like somebody but to take a drug that could help people and say, oh, Donald Trump got stock in it just because you didn't like Donald Trump and you killed 400,000 people who half of them, if it was caught early, because some of them were too far in to get it because they would have got it too late, those who are into it, they often die. But those who are on the early onset of it, they live through a therapeutic. They buried the representative, the Whitsett from Michigan, the Michigan State representative in the House, Michigan State House. They buried her in history. We played it for you yesterday. They've got death on their hands. Death on their hands. Death on their soul. Blood on their hands. And how are they going to clean this up? How are those talking heads on MSNBC and CNN and the people who weren't covering it on all the other stations and all the jokesters? My wife and I were watching Jimmy Kimmel last night. And he comes out talking about a joke, talking about Groundhog's Day, right? And he said, if I want to see a little rodent hiding in a hole, I'll just go over to Mar-a-Lago. That's where Trump is, right? In Florida, right? I just go there and everybody laugh. You can't get a laugh. Donald Trump's out of office now. You can't get a laugh from anything else. Here goes Kamala Harris, she gets on TV and she tells, in an interview, we have the video and we're getting ready to play it. She gets on television on an interview that went global. It went not only regional, but it went national and it went global around the world, saying that the minors could then become people who take care of land mines. Look up land mines. What are land mines, Tonya? Let's look up land mines. This is very important because people are talking about people having a certain skill set because they work in the coal mines, and she says land mines, that they could be able to work to collect the land mines. We have the tape. We have the videotape. Is this your sister girl? What is a landmine? What is a landmine?
A landmine is an explosive device concealed under or on the ground and designed to destroy or disable enemy targets ranging from combatants to vehicles and tanks as they pass over or near it. Such a device is typically detonated automatically by way of pressure when a target steps on it or drives over it, although other detonation mechanisms are also sometimes used. A landmine may cause damage by direct blast effect, by fragments that are thrown by the blast, or by both.
We are not only seeing the clown show, but the clown cards are coming out now, people. The clown cards are coming out now. These same people who kept people from taking hydrochloroquine are the same people who are in office now, the same people who deny Antifa. And we've talked about Antifa and the accelerationists on the other side of it who want to see the state fall. We've talked about both sides in nauseam. The Antifa is still going to town in Portland right now, destroying shit. And these are the people, the clown show is happening, and now the clown cars are coming out, right? And people voted for this show as they're clipping and giving warning. They're clipping. They don't want you to know about this. Isn't this something? Isn't it? Isn't it amazing? Isn't it quaint? Isn't it romantic? The love affair is almost over between you and Kamala. Soon you will see that she's not. Is she still your sister, girl? Let's play the tape. Let's play the tape. There's no need to wait any further. Now, she was talking that. Smash the share button, smash the like, but she was talking that talk that she talked to the Negroes. And she was talking that Negro whisperer talk. But that Negro whisperer talk don't work with them people that all they know is the coal mines. She was talking about, listen, this is the same way that she talked to black people, and black people went and voted for her. Now, listen to this now. Listen very close.
Employment, of course, during the pandemic has been a major issue, as you've touched on. Adding to that uncertainty, people in traditional energy jobs have concerns about the Biden administration's clean energy plan. People who work in coal especially have heard before that there will be jobs and programs to help them transition to no avail. Why should they believe that this time will be different?
Well, first of all, let me say that the president has been very clear that this is not about any existing leases in terms of coal and what we're doing in terms of oil and coal and federal land.
She tap dancing. She's doing the machine gun with her mouth. She's trying to get her thoughts together. That means that she's over her head. She's put on a stage. This is a big stage, but this isn't the international stage. But because she was so poor in her performance, it went international. Is this the person? Listen very closely. Listen. Is this the person that you want to represent being a black woman? Do you want her to represent you going across the globe? If she was to get the presidency, I would hate to think she can barely put the words together. We will be in wars. Now, is this still your sister girl? This your sister girl. This your sister girl.
And this is about what we need to do going forward to create more jobs. The president feels very strongly that when we are thinking about saving our environment, when you talk to him about climate change, the first thing that he talks about is job creation.
Now, when you're talking about climate change, the first thing that you're talking about is job creation. That wouldn't be the first thing that you would talk about with climate change and correcting climate change. Let me get this. I was pretty good in geography. You had to take geography classes out here in Las Vegas because you could be in the desert and it could be an ephemeral lake. What an ephemeral lake is it was at one time Las Vegas was a fertile, plush land, but over time people coming through, planting on it and doing all that, it dried out to a desert. That's what happens. That's the same thing in what was considered the Fertile Crescent in Africa, where Adam and Eve came from, which is around Ethiopia. They kept planting on it and not refurbishing the soil, that it turned into desert, and the people had to move, right? So the same thing happened in it, but an ephemeral lake is once a lake bed that was plush when it was greenery, right? And it's still there in its formation. However, when there is a what they call a cloud burst, because we have those like maybe 4 or 5 times a year, a cloud burst in the summer, and it's a heavy rain that just comes down, right? The ephemeral lake fills up for that time until it's over, and then the sun will dry out the lake and it goes back to being a dry desert. However,